Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about extruding and cutting in Solidworks. So the last tutorial we talked about was mainly about sketching, the regular lines, the circles, squares, and arcs. Today we're going to be discussing the different tips and tricks that you can use when you're extruding and cutting a solid. So to extrude, all you need to do is go up to here in the corner and click Extrude Boss Base. And what will happen is your computer will then allow you to select several contours. So in this screen, you're going to be greeted with your Boss Extrude, your From selection, which we'll explain in a little bit. You can come from a surface, you can offset. We'll show that a little bit later. Right now you can select directions, blind up to surface, offset from surface up to vertex, up to body, and on the midplane. And I'll show you what these mean. If we go to selected contours and we select some of the multiple options that appear here, we can pick the main body, we can pick this small piece down here, or if we don't want it, we can just click on that again and it will unselect it. Keep in mind as well that when you're trying to use selected contours, if you just have one big shape with no separate areas, selected contours won't be available and you'll just be able to, you can just select it wherever you want. So here we're going to take a look at what these things mean. I'm going to demonstrate several of these with another surface in mind. The midplane one is a nice and useful feature where it'll take the sketch that you've made as a midplane for it, and as you can see right there, it's extended on both sides, whereas a straight blind extrude will only be on one side. So let's go to midplane, and if we enter it in, as you see down here on the bottom, we're in inches, and we're going to move to 1 inch. So you can see it extends out, and pulls back through. So let's make all of this right here a part of it, except for this right here. Actually, except for this entire thing over the side. So here, now we have our solid. But what if we want to use the sketch that we've already created to add more extrudes? All we have to do is click the sketch, be sure you go down, click the little arrow here, click the sketch, and then click Extrude Boss Base. That'll bring you to the menu with the sketch able to be selected again. You can select existing and make even stuff that you've already made extrudes on, even those things you've already made extrudes on, you can make them bigger. Or, and here's where I'm going to show you a different feature used in the extrude tool. You can make a what's called a thin feature. So let's select this right here, and we're going to go to the midplane. But this time we're only going to use 1/2 inch. Now we're going to demonstrate the thin feature tool. So what the thin feature tool does is it allows you to create an extrude along either the outside or the inside of your sketch that you've already made. So if we take a look right here, you can see that it's on the outside of our sketch. And if we click OK, this is what it's going to end up looking like. Now if we go back and edit our feature, we can move it inwards, and we can also adjust the size. So let's say we want it to be 0.05 thickness, a really thin, small handle. You can also make it go in just one direction, which is on the inside or the outside. Midplane, which will do the exact same thing that midplane did over on the big sketch, or you can do in 2 directions, so that you'll be able to have 0.05 off in one direction or 0.05 and 0.05 in the other direction. If you so choose. There's also things you can adjust over here. For example, if you wanted the outside to be 0.25 of an inch, or the inside, you can adjust that as well, but the outside will remain 0.05. So those are some fun extrude features, but now let's take a look at what Extrude Cut is. So the cut feature is right here. And what this does is it allows us to cut into surfaces, to cut into solids, sorry. It allows us to cut into solids to make holes for what we want. Something like that. When you open up the Extrude Cut menu, you'll instantly be greeted with the exact same thing that you had seen before on the Extrude Boss base. However, this time it's just a little bit different, because instead of creating something out of nothing, you're instead trying to take away from what you've already created. You can select the different contours that you want, be it this or that, but make sure that it always intersects a solid body. You can't have a cut, for example, this cut right here. It won't go through if it's not intersecting a solid body. See, it does not work for you. This also can work in several different ways. This can use through all. So, for example, if I wanted to, let's unselect this. Let's select this over here. As you can see, it's only sticking out on one side. I can select through all, and all it will do is go through all on one side. For example, if I had this smaller and it wasn't going through it completely, change to through all, it's going through all. Through all both is in meaning to both sides. So now you'll be extending on both sides. Up to next, up to vertex, up to surface, offset from surface, and up to body will be explained in a later video. Midplane is exactly what you think it is. You take it, and it, especially for this one, 0.14 of an inch, 0.14 inches. It will go 0.07 inches on one side and 0.07 on the other. So we're going to do a through all both. Now, one thing that you should take notice in every single extrude is what's called the draft feature. Now I'll go into more in-depth video of this later, but just so you understand right now, this is kind of what the draft feature is meant to do. So we'll show a greater video of that later, and all of the applications for that. There are other sorts of cuts that you can do. Revolved cuts, if you have a circular surface. I will discuss revolved boss base and swept boss base in the next video, along with lofted boss base, which are really fun things to use. The whole wizard is pretty self-explanatory, but we'll cover that in a different video as well. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.